Folks, I'm 36 years old. I am very privileged to say that I have the pleasure of meeting many extraordinary people, going to extraordinary places, and doing extraordinary things in my lifetime. Granted, I suppose extraordinary is a relatively broad term, and I guess it's subjective, but the point is, I can say that I am living a good life. I am. It's not perfect, but it's good. However, even before today, I've never been a stranger to, people passing in my life, whether I actually knew them or not. Whether they were family members or, famous people that I watched and or looked up to. It never not gets sad when that happens. There's always that sinking feeling in your heart where even at your most happy, when you see something like this, your smile almost immediately goes away. No matter how much we don't wish it, that's life. That's what happens. Me personally, I'm at that point in my life where I do know it's going to happen when that time comes. I'm still not going to enjoy it. I don't even think anyone does. But there's something to be said about how truly devastating it is when not only does a famous person that you know for a fact you watched growing up was practically the exact same age as you are when they died. Which brings us to today's video. I suppose I could just simply say, Happy Thursday, everyone. I don't think you need to know what my low is because, listen, if you're watching this on YouTube, you saw the YouTube title, you know what my low is. I guess my high would be that I was privileged to, watch this person on, the silver screen. And in some cases, TV screen. And if you want to know what my act of kindness was, I separated a shopping cart for someone and, gave it to them. That's what I did. As well as I did someone a big favor yesterday. So, back to the topic at hand. There's always something that just seems so devastating when anyone passes. But when that person was near your age, it really does make you rethink a lot of things that you wouldn't normally. I speak, of course, of the may now be late, but will always forever be great, Daviegh, who was, for me, she was Lilo and Stitch. seriously, there are times where I don't even think about it, and arguably the most iconic line from that movie is when Lilo asks, "What about Ohana?" Now, I knew what Ohana was going into Lilo and Stitch because I saw Rocket Power, and if you don't know, Ohana means family. But it was Lilo and Stitch that added. I mean, listen, it was iconic before, but it's more. But it was Lilo and Stitch that brought this to light. Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. And that moment of Leo yelling, "What about Ohana?" That's Daviegh Chase. That's her voice. I can hear her voice whenever I think about that moment. I mean, I remember watching Lilo and Stitch. I was visiting my family out in Colorado way back in 2001. And as an activity, we went to go see Lilo and Stitch. I remember seeing that movie. And, I mean, Lilo and Stitch is a great movie. It is. I mean, there's a reason why Disney had to make a not very good live-action remake. Because it is a great movie. And it also isn't surprising that Lilo and Stitch grew so much in popularity that, yeah, it did fall into the Disney direct-to-video movie things. But the direct-to-video movies for Lilo and Stitch were actually good. Like, better than they ever deserved to be. On top of that, 2 of those movies involved the show, the Lilo and Stitch the series, which I do believe Daviegh Chase was voicing Lilo in that show as well. Was she? Yeah, she did. Cool. I gotta keep my notes out. And, you know, I mean, the idea of, well, if you don't know what Lilo and Stitch the series was, it was basically a series that ran for a few years where they bring up the idea that Stitch was experiment 626 or 626. So, what about the other 625 experiments that existed? So the idea of, like, you know, 625 experiments who, for all intents and purposes, were just as bad as Stitch was when you first see him in Lilo and Stitch, and, you know, rehabilitating them and finding the one place they truly belong, you know, that's actually really good for a kid's show. It was. And Daviegh Chase was there to voice Lilo throughout all of it. Lilo and Stitch series is a solid show. If it's on, I think it's on Disney Plus. If it's on Disney Plus, I highly recommend you give it a watch, especially if you like Lilo and Stitch anything. And Daviegh Chase's roles, you know, didn't just span to, you know, just being Lilo. I mean, she was Chihiro in Spirited Away, which I will admit, I saw Spirited Away when it was playing on Cartoon Network, and that movie felt like it was like 4 hours long thanks to all the commercials and such. So I wouldn't say, I mean, I bet if I watched Spirited Away from start to finish, no commercials, I'm sure it'd be a phenomenal movie. I'd like to be able to do that someday. But she was Chihiro. She was also the girl from The Ring. I will never forget, like, how big of a, I believe it was The Ring that started that old trend of, like commercials for movies, like showing audience reactions to what they were seeing on the screen. And I know they did that for The Ring. And she was the evil girl from The Ring. Like, Daviegh Chase had range for days. Like, whoa. Okay, I mean, so at the 2003 MTV Movie Awards, she won the Best Villain Award for being the Ring for that year. Like, that's cool. Um, it just, it's sad, man. I mean, needless to say, when I saw that Daviegh Chase passed away, by the way, if I am pronouncing her name wrong, I deeply apologize. I tried looking up how to pronounce her name, like, I still couldn't figure it out. Like, I think that it's Daviegh Chase. Maybe that's how, I don't know. If I pronounce it wrong, I am so sorry. But the point is, I'm trying to show respect here. Anyway, actually, quick story about her. I played Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was a kid. And I remember when Kingdom Hearts 2 was being released, and Disney Channel had, I think it was like Disney 365, and Daviegh Chase was like promoting, like at one of the Disney Channel things, like promoting the game. She was promoting Kingdom Hearts 2. I remember that. I mean, full stop, Lilo's not in Kingdom Hearts 2. The only remotely Lilo and Stitch thing in Kingdom Hearts 2 is that Stitch, it plays a summoning character. That's really about it. But she was promoting, I remember, like, that was one of the very first times I ever actually saw, like, someone who voiced a character, like, but you saw the actual person who voiced them, you know? That's one of the first times I ever saw that. That was Daviegh Chase. And I read up on, like, what caused her passing, and evidently after she, like, quit acting, she had a lot of problems. Like, severe malnutrition, systemic bullying, or estrangement from her family, ongoing housing instability. I mean, and then came what caused her death, which she had systemic bloodstream infections, which led her to be septic. For those of you who don't know, like, if for whatever reason you become septic, it's damn near guaranteed that's the end for you. It is. You know, is it possible to live from that? Yes. In fact, believe it or not, back in 2018, around the time I started making videos, my parents actually went to Rome, and on my way back, my father got really sick, and he wound up getting, like, an infection in his lungs, and he wound up getting septic. He's alive today, thank God, which reminds me. That wooden table there, I had to knock on wood. So, it's rough. My father was in the hospital for 2 weeks. 8 of those days were in the ICU. So, sepsis is no joke. Not even remotely a joke. I had one of my aunts die of sepsis, actually. That's the thing, two of my aunts may have died of sepsis. So, needless to say, make sure you're taking good care of yourselves out there. But this is, this is, this is rough, man. I mean, she was Lilo. For a lot of people my age, and even like little kids today, she was Lilo. From Lilo and Stitch. And now, like seriously, all throughout, the instant I heard this news, there were so many like iconic lines from the movie, Lilo and Stitch, that were like playing in my head. And guess who the vast majority of those lines came from? Lilo. And that was Daviegh Chase's voice saying those lines. That was Daviegh Chase who said, yeah, he's good. I can tell. That was Daviegh Chase saying, Pudge controls the weather. That was Daviegh Chase saying, no more caffeine for you. And it was Daviegh Chase who said that beautiful line. Ohana means family. And family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Well, Daviegh Chase, or any one of her family members, if any of her fans are watching this, pretty sure it's at least safe to say that her memory will never get left behind. And she will never be forgotten. Not by a long shot. This is rough. But unfortunately, this is what life is. The one thing you can do is, hold those who are near and dear to you close. And for sure, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go call my mom and tell her I love her. I hope you all like this video. I'm very sorry this video was really on the sad side. You gotta believe me. Believe me, of all the videos I ever would have expected to do in 2026 or ever, this is not one I was remotely expecting to make. I could never predict that I'd be making this video. But here we are. So, I hope everyone has a nice day. And remember, if anyone needs to talk, you have people like me out there who listen. So, you have that going for you. So, take care and make good choices. And represent the 607 all day.